Hello, welcome to Erik the Linguist. In this video, I'd like to talk about building longer noun phrases from single word nouns. One of the essential features in professional writing is long noun phrases compared to some personal writing that usually involves shorter phrases. Our common understanding about nouns is that they are single word items that can be looked up in the dictionary. Nouns are universal in all languages since we need names to label people, things, and ideas. Of course, as we progress at school, we learn that before nouns we can add elements like articles, numbers, and adjectives, and so on. But that's not the end of it. We can also add components after nouns. Here I use a simple noun car to illustrate how a noun phrase can be expanded. I call this a head noun. The simplest way to expand a noun phrase is to add an article or the determiners before the head noun. Okay. Times when we cannot describe the nouns with just adjectives, but a prepositional phrase instead, we have to put the phrase after the head noun. In this case, the prepositional phrase on the pavement indicates more specifically about where the red cars are. Another case in which we have to put the elements after the head noun would be when the detail is described in a relative clause or a participle clause or participle phrase if you like. In this example, the relative clause gives details about where the red cars are. So the noun phrase goes, the red cars that are parked illegally. The point of adding more elements to a noun for longer noun phrases is not to impress readers. Overly long noun phrases can be confusing, but to describe a person, thing, or idea more specifically without writing lots of sentences. Note that this illustration does not represent all the combinations for expanding the noun phrase. Following this, I have a few more examples to show you why. Texts in real life are often more complex. News articles, for example, have a good mix of both simple and complex noun phrases. I extracted this article from New York Times in January 30th, 2020 for illustration, as well as for your practice. Right in paragraph 2, we can already see a few different types of noun phrases. So we have shorter noun phrases, either names of institution, the World Health Organization, or those for classifying people, Chinese officials, and places, mainland China. A slightly more complex noun phrase will be in the first sentence, but it's not difficult to break it down into smaller parts. Will be the head noun, meaning the focus is on the numbers, as indicated after the verb increased. We have the figure 7,700. The head noun comes after the definite article the and is followed by a prepositional phrase of confirmed cases. Of course, we can also break down the noun phrase that includes an adjective with another head noun, cases. A few paragraphs down, we see an even more complex one. I'll break it down in the next slide. Again, of course, within the prepositional phrase, we can further break the noun phrase down, but since the Centers for Disease Control is the title of an American institution, Let's not complicate the matter further here. This one, in the same paragraph, will be one of the most complex noun phrases in the article. It includes a prepositional phrase and a relative clause at the same time. The two qualifiers, however, function differently in the noun phrase. While the first qualifier on the flight gives detail about who the passengers are specifically, the second one is the relative clause giving extra information about flight. It's actually okay to go without the second qualifier, but the reason why it sounds fine will be worth another tutorial again when we focus on the two main kinds of relative clauses. But at least from this example, we can see that we can keep adding elements to the head noun, and this process can actually go on forever, that we can build an indefinitely long noun phrase. This may look impressive, but would totally miss the point. It would make the noun phrase very hard to read. We have to avoid that when we write. So now it's your turn. Try another sentence in the article and find out the long noun phrase in the sentence. You may pause the video and try it out first. I'll share my answer 30 seconds from now. Researchers at the Peter Doherty Institute for Infection and Immunity in Melbourne, Australia. Okay, so here I dive in to break down the noun phrase at the level which the prepositional phrase is also analyzed. The head noun of the whole noun phrase is researchers with a definite article the. I would say it is actually okay to add the article back in as the researchers. But my guess is that the reporter may not wish to be specific about who the researchers are specifically in the institute, and the prepositional phrase has also given some details about them. So, in the prepositional phrase, after the preposition at is the noun phrase including the, with the institution name, the Peter Doherty Institute for Infection and Immunity, ending with another prepositional phrase in Melbourne, Australia, for specifying the location of the institute. From the examples I just showed you, it seems that the mature writers tend to pack a lot of information in noun phrases so that they can use fewer sentences to say more. This may sound contradictory, but indeed, academic writing at the university level will involve a lot of noun phrases that are elaborate with details. Effective writers will be capable of mastering the many combinations of expanding noun phrases. However, this doesn't mean that we need to pack all the noun phrases with many elements. In the future tutorials, I will illustrate how we manage nouns of different complexity when writing paragraphs. So that's all from me. Remember to subscribe to my channel to get more tips from a linguistic perspective for learning and improving your English. See you next time. Goodbye.